What's up, everybody? In this episode, I have a super special guest. This is Austin, the founder of Electron Company, and we're gonna go over the ETM RTR, why this bike is different than every other bike in the industry right now. Let's go. So we have Austin here to go over the ETM RTR with us. We're going to talk about what makes this bike different than other bikes in the market right now. This bike was built from the ground up from Electron Company. Most everything from the bike they thought of, designed, developed, and put together to give you a running, working bike. So Austin, starting from the front of the bike, these forks, this wheel set is pretty common, right? 12-14. Tell me about the forks that you all decided to put on this bike.
It goes pretty deep. The fork situation is a complete in-house design triple clamp.
Yeah.
In-house design bar mounts, in-house design bars, which is, I guess, is sort of set of the front fork. So
right.
And with that, the bars have the crossbar, all that's in-house designed. Not only are the bars themselves completely made from scratch, so are the little CNC end clamps, so are these little bar mounts, so are the entire triple clamp setup.
So what you're telling me is I would not be able to go on to like Alibaba or Temu and buy a fork set like this.
You cannot buy these parts.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Then like, so the internals are also specific to what you spec'd for this bike, right?
Yes. So obviously Electron Company didn't invent the entire fork internals, right? So these have been highly specified by us, specified the valving, the shim stacks, obviously the fork height.
And they're completely adjustable.
They're 100% adjustable, rebound and dampening, which is pretty uncommon in the pit bike space.
Right.
Obviously they're inverted forks, so like this bike compares to CRF 110 or KLX 110.
Yeah.
That's the market we're shooting for. And those bikes have traditional forks where the tubes are actually the other way around.
Upside from this.
Yeah, these are actually inverted, but we're all used to seeing, forks that are this direction, so it may surprise you that these are technically inverted.
Right. So one more thing with this bike that you'll see is this bike comes with a display. And I'll, in a video here, I'll drop in a screenshot of me going through the display. But what kind of features can we expect from the display? It comes with the bike.
Correct. So it comes with the bike right out of the box. It's a pretty basic display when you're riding your bike.
Yeah, but I don't want a ton of information when I'm riding. I want to know the basics.
We're not going to watch a YouTube video. So in order to keep it small so it tucks away nicely and isn't like in your face when you're trying to ride, you'll get battery percentage, speed, what mode you're in. It tracks how many miles you've done on that trip and the total miles of the bike.
Oh, nice.
That's generally speaking all that it will show. It also shows warning lights, actually. So if you have like a throttle error, a motor error.
Oh, like a dashboard on a car.
Correct. So you get like little check motor or check throttle lights, which can be helpful to help you diagnose your bike if it ever has an issue.
Right on. And then so moving on to like I guess the frame of the bike. This isn't a frame from another company that you guys put plastics on. You basically designed the frame from the ground up to your specifications.
Correct. Total in-house design bike, including the frame. Frame is based off of like a motocross style geometry. We built in a lot of room for adults with their legs and their arms. You have a good foot peg to handlebar ratio, so you're not banging your knees into it. The geometry's there, the head tube angle's there, and you get a replaceable subframe. We've integrated a hot swap battery system into this frame.
Which we'll demonstrate in a second.
Yes.
Yeah, and then since you mentioned the subframe though, I don't know if there is another bike in the market that has a replaceable subframe. And just so the viewer, if you're watching this, the subframe is this part back here, right? So if you're wheeling or doing stunts and you fall backwards, you bend it, you crash, you can just replace that.
Exactly.
By buying the part from your website.
Exactly.
Yeah,
which all the parts are really affordable. Since we're the manufacturer, the parts are really reasonable. We also have a full exploded view. So when it comes to replacement parts, like you do, let's say you loop out, which you're probably going to do.
Yeah.
I've
never done that.
Never.
No.
You're definitely going to crack your tail but maybe you bend your subframe, and that does happen.
Yeah.
It's easy as 4 bolts, boom, boom, and you're back riding again with a totally straight bike, and you don't have to like call a welder or something.
Right. Yeah. Hey, your buddy, and you got to pull the frame back straight or something.
Totally,
Because I've seen razors online, and they're all like curved because the subframe's bent.
All of our razors have bent subframes.
Right. The motor here, what you guys elected to do was have the motor be in the swing arm, but with that being said, the motor is as far forward in the pivot point as it possibly can. By doing that, you are eliminating the unsprung weight as much as possible from the back and giving you the opportunity to put up to a 45 amp hour battery in the mainframe.
That is exactly right. So everything you just said is 100% spot on. We put the motor in the swing arm because we wanted to be able to carry that battery, because everybody wants big range.
Sure.
And then also with a bike like this, you have a big battery in the front. If you don't bring some of that weight back with this kind of a design, then you end up with a front heavy bike. Most electric pit bikes and most electric bikes in general are front heavy. This bike has a 52% rear weight bias. Yes, we do have extra weight on the swing arm. Yes, that is unsprung mass. But as you said, we've moved it all the way close to the pivot point. Honestly, anyone that rides it will not notice any negative effects from this. Everything's been sorted out with it. It works
and the shock
really
geometry
well.
spot on.
Yes, exactly. All that stuff. It's a linear shock path. And when you have the weight back, it's better for wheelies. It's better for keeping the front light. So if you're doing maneuvers going over logs, maybe you're trying to like preload your bike off into a lip.
Right.
All that, it really matters how the bike feels. That couple percent, it's everything.
Nice. And you were telling me earlier that if you were to do a upgrade, which you are going to offer upgrades for this motor controller battery type stuff, right?
Yes.
The controller right now is in the front. It's right under here. But if you were to put a bigger battery in here and you were to put the Noisy Cricket controller in here, that controller goes to the back, which is going to offset some of that weight of the bigger battery.
Yes. When you upgrade the bike, we didn't want to lose that weight distribution, right? So you're going to put a bigger battery in, you're going to gain 8+ pounds at least on that battery. So we're going to take some of that weight out of the front by removing the stock controller, moving the Noisy Cricket into the rear, kind of offsetting that weight gain of the battery and trying to restore the weight distribution of the bike.
Right. It does not go under the tail section like the Pro Spec, so it's not going to be exposed. It goes under the seat where it's going to be closed and protected inside there.
Completely enclosed.
Yeah. So while we're back in the swing arm area, we're talking about the motor. The motor is completely redesigned for this bike. This is not a motor that you can find anywhere else. It was designed in-house by ENC and made specifically for this bike. What are the specifics that the people want to know about the motor?
ETM RTR motor is a V-magnet motor. This is a larger stator and rotor than what we've used in previous pit bike applications with the EC4P and the 1 motor.
Yep.
We also have a mod motor, which is like a longer internal diameter. That's coming out with the Noisy Cricket. We've kind of upgraded the tech.
So just so people who are watching this, the motor that's in this bike is not going to be compatible with the current EC4Ps that you have. The motor,
the swing arm's not compatible with EC4P.
Right. Okay, that's what I mean. The upgraded motor for this is going to be a separate motor, a separate SKU altogether.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And that's not intentional. That's just quite simply
That's
motor
just the way
needed
that it
to
worked.
be a very certain way in order to work with this design.
Yeah.
And just wasn't going to work with the EC4P.
Yeah. The one thing that I complain about the most is the seat. And the seat, to me, is super, super important. The seat on this bike is super quality. The foam in the seat is unlike any other bike that I've sat on. The seat is super comfortable. There was lengths taken to address that specifically.
Yes.
With the foam that was even made in this seat.
Yes. We went to several foam manufacturers and seat cover manufacturers, and we wanted to make sure we had like the highest quality stuff. So this is similar to what you find in like a KTM or any high-end
it
bike.
feels like the quality of a seat that you would find like a Honda, Yamaha type bike.
Totally.
You know?
And you're sitting on it.
Yeah.
So it's got to be it's got to be dialed.
Totally. The other thing here that you guys did that's differently is the foot peg design is wide open to allow the dirt, the mud to fall through the peg so that it doesn't cake up. So you guys put thought into that even.
Yeah. So the foot pegs everything's designed in-house pretty much, including the foot peg, all the way down to the foot peg bracket, which can adjust forward and backwards on the frame. That way you can you know, maybe
street bike versus the road bike.
Totally. Like if you ride the street and you don't want your legs bent back, which is ideal for off-road.
Yeah.
You know, you want them more forward. We have a peg slot for that, so you can move the whole peg bracket forward. And then the peg itself is a super lightweight stainless steel design, very grippy. Watch out for your shins.
Yes.
But it lets mud, ice, and muck drop through and allows the teeth to bite into your shoe. So that way, when the conditions are like this, you can still ride your bike and have grip. One thing beside the seat that I appreciate that you guys did on it is I'm glad you guys put a kickstand on it. Yes. I don't know, I'm not a true moto guy, right? But I ride these things. Yes. I like a kickstand. So thank you for that. I'm a kickstand guy. Yeah. Yeah. Kickstand or no kickstand? I am a kickstand guy, yeah. I gotta have a kickstand on my bike. It's okay. The convenience factor, right? So yes, on our race bikes, we remove the kickstand. You just don't want it to slap down in a race or something, but I'm usually not racing. Yeah. And therefore, a kickstand is extremely convenient. Yeah. And we made sure we made a decent kickstand that my Stark just falls over. And like other bikes, and so it doesn't seem like the kickstand is that hard to perfect. The simplest thing. It's been around for how many years? So we paid close attention to the length of the kickstand. Yeah. So I have a bike at home, and I'm not going to mention any names, but to charge it is a complete pain in the ass. The one thing that Electron Company did is they put the charger right on the side of the bike. So it's super simple, super easy. It's even got a little door that keeps the weather out. You plug it in and off you go. Super simple. The whole point of a lot of the design here is not just the performance, but the convenience. Yes. Of working on it. Oh, dude, like you just mentioned. So right here, I'm gonna take the seat off. You pull this little cord right here. You slide the seat back. It's got this little knob. You turn the knob, take the bracket off, disconnect the battery. The battery just slides out. The amount of stuff that you can do with this bike without even having tools, we can hot swap the battery. So let's just say you have this battery. Talk about the battery real quick. 72 volts right out of the box. Yeah. 25 amp hours right out of the box. Yeah. So pretty good, decent range. You're talking 15 if you're savage, almost 30 if you're cruising. Right. That's the most common question I get. How many miles does it go? That's such a subjective question. There's the rider weight. There's your gearing, there's your terrain, there's your throttle manner, there's the elevations that you're climbing. All that stuff plays at a factor in the amount of range that you get. The rule of thumb that I use is a mile per amp hour. On a 72 volt battery? Yeah. Yeah. Ish. Totally. That's as close as I can get. Yes, I would say that's accurate if you're being conservative. Yeah. You can get about a mile an amp hour if you're trying to get the range out of it. So with this, we have the stock battery. Yep. We were just talking about the hot swapping of the battery. So let's just say I get a 35 amp hour battery. Yes. Now I have two batteries. I can take the battery out that's used, hot swap the new one in, and then I got 30 more miles of range with no tools. Yes. No tools, just like 1 minute. Off you go. 1 minute, off you go. But on the outside of the bike, guys, you can see that this one's a little bit different than this one. As far as the performance goes, they're the same bike. This is the Voltron collaboration with ENC bike. That brings me to my next point I want to talk to you about is the plastics and the design of the plastics that went into this. Yes, and my favorite part. Yes. So tell me about what it took to design this. What was the inspiration for the look of the bike? Sure. So fully from scratch design plastics, probably one of the hardest parts to do design. Yeah. It's one thing to design a frame. Yeah. It's one thing to design, a triple clamp or a functional part. Right. To design a body is a whole nother can of worms when it comes to CAD design. So we're super stoked at how it turned out. It took a really long time to get this dialed in, a lot of iterations. Yep. It's 100% unique. The inspiration comes from, this is a general idea of how most modern bikes look. We wanted a full body, full coverage look that kind of brought that new age motocross feel to the pit bike scene. Yeah. Because a lot of pit bikes either are super minimalistic right now, or are basically overbodied with basically husky rip-off stuff. And we just wanted something sleek. So we just said to our designer, take a look at all the bikes out there. We want something that looks sharp and cutting edge, but miniaturized. Yeah, that's what and that rides like that too. So it doesn't just look like a big bike that's been shrunk down. Yes.
It rides like a big bike. It feels like a big bike as far as the quality of it.
Yes.
Like a Honda, Yamaha, the quality of it, everything is really tight. It's, you know, it's really just feels strong when you pick it up. Yes, rigid is the feel. There's no play in the suspension when you pick it up. There's no play in the forks. There's nothing loose. It's just solid, like well made.
A lot of that has to do with just the entire frame design itself, the suspension quality itself, the assembly quality, the attention to fitment. But yeah, we want to inspire confidence, right? So when you land off of a jump, it needs to feel solid. You need to feel connected. When you leave the lip of a jump or you're riding a wheelie, you need to have predictability.
Since this is a ground up build, what I appreciate, and maybe some people won't even notice, is the fact that you guys have stamped the ENC logo on all the parts.
Yes.
Because it's not a rebranded XYZ company.
Correct.
So it's like when you go under your Silverado and you look under the air filter cover, it's got the Chevrolet logo on there.
Correct.
The ENC logo is stamped on these parts that you would never even think you would see, like on the bottom of the triple clamps.
Yes. Underneath the triples, underneath every body panel,
the
every
pegs.
single plastic, the pegs.
Yeah.
We tried to like sneak it in there somewhere because I wanted it to be.
It's an attention to detail.
Yes, it was
professional too.
Yeah. We wanted it to feel like, I wanted you to look at it and be like,
yeah,
that is unique.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's so many bikes out there that if you didn't really notice, they use parts from another bike. Kind of just goes unnoticed, right? Because they just kind of share parts. We call it from market.
Okay.
Where this bike, the only part from market is the hubs.
Oh.
So we say we designed the whole bike except the hubs.
Yeah. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about on the bike is the brakes. Tell me about the brakes, the size of the brakes, and I noticed it's got some really nice stainless steel braided lines.
Yes, totally. So this is like a miniaturized pit bike brake setup is the way that we like to look at it. This is a completely custom thing that we went to a very high-end brake manufacturer to have specifically made for our application. With their guidance, we came up with this setup.
Well, you're not a brake company. We rely on the brake company guys to make the best brakes.
To let us know if we're out of our mind with our requests or if it's realistic. So this is what we came up with. The masters on these are pretty cool. They have a sight glass so you can see your oil level. We have full braided brake lines.
Yes.
And then attached to that is a moderate sized caliper.
Yeah.
Plenty of stopping power. And then underneath that, or pinching, is the custom rotors where we put stuck little lightning bolts in there.
Yeah, man. That's a good touch.
200 millimeter rotors, pretty gnarly. They're nice and thick. You're not going to have any issues stopping this bike.
No.
But most importantly, they have extremely good lever feel and they're very comfortable.
Yes.
This is important when you're trying to really pushing the limit. Brake feel is important. And so one of the many details that we thought on the top 5.
Yeah.
So
on the level of importance and ride feel.
Totally. Top 5 level of importance is brake feel, and happy with the way that they came out.
We haven't touched on the speed. So the bike out of the box.
Yeah.
What's the speed of the bike out of the box? Everybody wants to know.
Over 50.
So
what
50 miles an hour.
Yeah. So what does 50 plus mean?
Yeah.
It depends how heavy you are.
And all the other all the other factors I just mentioned.
So you're definitely going to go 50 unless you're like a really, really big guy up the hill or something. You can expect 50 plus. Some guys are hitting up to 55 plus.
Yeah.
Manage your expectations.
Just depends.
Yeah, manage your expectations.
But 50 miles an hour out of the box, 8 kilowatt motor, $29.99.
Yes.
So at a price point of $29.99, with everything that you just mentioned, you can't even build a bike or buy another bike that even really comes close to this.
I don't think so. No. The biggest thing is the frame and the chassis itself is beyond anything that's available. So just that alone, then you throw on the 8 kilowatts, 50 plus miles an hour. I think the value is there.
So an out of the box bike, all you gotta do is put your handlebars on, probably put your front wheel on.
Exactly.
That's probably about it.
Yep.
And then you're going 50 miles an hour. If 50 mile an hour is not fast enough for you, is there a solution for that?
Yes. So coming soon to the website, we'll have Noisy Cricket. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. If not, please check it out. Proprietary TrueMoto controller that we designed in-house, has our own app, so you can adjust all the power settings, torque, throttle response, all that stuff, and get that going with your ETM RTR. And we have a mod motor coming that'll let you increase the power somewhere into the double-digit range for
kilowatts. Okay.
And increase the top speed, the torque, the power.
So that'll be a battery motor controller.
That is correct.
Kit, and then so battery motor controller, and you probably just use your existing throttle, or will it come with on-off switches, 3-speed switches, all that separately?
It comes with all that stuff.
Oh,
and
so
it upgrades everything.
And we don't have a price on that yet, or availability?
No price or availability yet. We actually have 3 different motors we're putting head-to-head. So.
Oh, you're still in the testing phase.
We are right at the finish line.
Okay.
So we're having 3 different final configurations that we're going to put head-to-head with our pro riders and some influencers.
Yeah.
And make a final decision and get production rolling, and then the kits will be available.
Right on, man. Austin, I can't thank you enough for having me out here. The weather's crap today, guys. I really wanted to open with like the first time I came to Electro & Company when I said, I am here in sunny Northern California with Austin from Electro & Company.
Guys, I am in sunny Northern California with Austin.
I didn't get to say that today. Appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. It does not cost anything, and it helps the channel a ton. Thank you guys so much. Later.
The value, the dollar to value ratio for everything you're getting.
Yeah.
And you get a good drivetrain out of the box.
Right.
So you don't have that immediate necessity to upgrade.